My name is David. We're here with Bible Study, and today we're talking about Moses. I'm going to bring up two references from the Bible that are well-known references that people have seen, they've heard, they've talked about, but these are going to be different explanations than you probably ever heard before. Now, in the very first one we're going to do is Exodus chapter 7, verse 10. Now, most people have seen Moses played by Charlton Heston, in which Moses and Aaron appeared before Pharaoh, and as it said in Exodus 7:10, and Aaron and Moses appeared before Pharaoh, and Aaron cast down his rod and it became a serpent. So Pharaoh called the wise men, the magicians, the sorcerers of Egypt, and they did like with their enchantments. But Aaron's rod swallowed up the others, and Pharaoh's heart became hardened. This was found actually by accident. I was reading through an encyclopedia, reading through dictionaries, and I came across the word Pharaoh. And so I started reading underneath Pharaoh and examples of other words that Pharaoh was connected to, like Pharaoh's chicken, Pharaoh's ant, and Pharaoh's serpent. Pharaoh's serpent is what happens when you take gunpowder and mix it with pellets of microthiocyanate. It creates an ashy substance as it burns and hisses. And you can still buy them at fireworks stations today, and they are still called snakes. My favorite definition comes from Oxford's dictionary, which reads that not only is it a composite of mercury, thiocyanate, and gunpowder, not only is it a firework, but it references Exodus 7:10 as an example in history when Pharaoh's serpent was used. Now, it's interesting to keep in mind that this makes Moses aware of gunpowder. The next example that I'd like to bring is Exodus chapter 25, verse 10, which was the creation of the ark. The Ark of the Covenant was described as being a box 1.5 by 1.5 by 2.5 cubits long. Gold box inside of a wood box inside of a gold box. Two cherubs on the top facing each other but not touching. Now, what most people are not aware of is that mica and gold are similar in that both materials are photovoltaic. Photovoltaic means that as sunlight passes through it, it creates an electromotive force, also known as current, electricity. So if you have a gold box, 1.5 with a wood box and a gold box, you have a conductor with an insulator and a conductor made out of photovoltaic material with two potential differences on the top. So when this thing is exposed to sunlight, it will charge. As in 2 Kings, when David was transporting the ark and the cart hit a bump, and Uzzah stuck forth his hand to steady the ark, and God struck him dead. And David was afeared. Why? Because David did not understand. David did not know how the ark worked. The ark charged in sunlight. It was charged, and he exposed a lot of people to a really bad situation. But going back to Moses and how he used the ark and how it was described in the Bible that he used the ark. So we now know that the ark is a electrical capacitor capable of creating voltage just by being exposed to sunlight. If you take that information along with the information with Pharaoh's serpent, and then we go to Numbers 16, where Korah and 250 of the princes of Israel revolted against Moses, saying, "Moses, we feel you're being too greedy." And this seems to be a problem with the entire world. And Moses fell on his face, saying, "Oh, I cannot believe you called me greedy. I cannot believe you called me greedy, because I am greedy. And we can't live any longer together with you calling me greedy, because this is not going to work." So Moses says, "Tell you what, God wants you and me here tomorrow noon. Right here tomorrow before the tabernacle." So Moses has all evening to plant the entire area with gunpowder. When Korah and the 250 princes of Israel show up the next day with their censers in hand, these are large brass bowls with brass plates used for burning incense. When they show up with their censers in hand, they have 250 grounding rods in front of a space capacitor that's capable of producing a large amount of voltage. Moses gets a message and says, God wants to talk to us. They go inside the tabernacle. Moses removes the ground. The ark begins to charge. He comes back outside, talks to Korah and the 250 and says, God has a message for you. Not for us. He's got a message. He wants to talk to you. So Aaron and I, we're going to go ahead and leave. And y'all have fun. He leaves and the earth swallowed them up. But it's interesting, it also says in the Bible that fire came out from the Lord, which means that the ark discharged, hit the ground rods, the gunpowder that was packed up in the dirt causing explosion, and the earth did open up. Now, none of this is mystical. None of this requires anything from the ethereal. This was gunpowder, this was electricity, this was technology, this was information being used against people to convince them of something that wasn't true. And in the end, the crowd murmured against Moses and Aaron, but Moses had another trick. He went ahead and ungrounded the ark the next day. The presence of God was back again, and the people became appeared. Eventually, in the end, information and knowledge always winds up opening the eyes and shedding light on things that were normally kept dark. What we want to do is just shed light on things. Thank you for joining us for Bible study. Peace.